끝이 타버릴 때까지 뛰어 맨발의 청춘을 더 burn it up 넘어져도 상처는 안 남아.
I need to figure out a better way to fade that in and out, but we'll get there.
I know, it's
all right.
Happy
You want to start
Sunday.
us off?
Yes. Hey, Stay. Happy Sunday. Welcome to STAYtalk. As always, I am one of your hosts, JC, and to the left of me or the right, depending on how you're looking at us, is...
Good afternoon, guys. This is Chrysalis, and welcome to today's episode of the show, which is going to be an interesting episode today because we've got some stuffs. We've got some stuffs. So do we want? So I forgot what dish of the day I think we were going to make was the just kind of reiterating from our last show into this one, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
I'll start that one off because I want to say, hey, good afternoon, Jocelyn. We love seeing you every single show. You are wonderful and amazing, and thank you for being here. But we wanted to start off the dish of the day. We're going to talk about age in the not just in the fandom a little bit again, but also here on our channel, because we realized on the last show, which was wonderful, we had such a very great turnout, and we were very, very appreciative of that. But we happened to have some younger stay. Now, granted, most everybody to JC and I is probably going to be younger stay just by the relation of where we fall on the chronological side of things.
Way to call us out, Chris.
Hey, well, I know you're not claiming the title, and I do, but that's okay.
All right.
We had a couple of folks on our last show who were wonderfully beautiful little dansangs. If you follow my threads at all, I call everybody that follows me my darling dansangs or my didis, and they were wonderful little didis, but they were didis who were under the age of 17, and that is perfectly okay. And we recognize the fact that, Stray Kids and K-pop in general, but Stray Kids especially, has a very wide berth of demographics that it caters to. But this space is intended to be more, I'm not going to say adult conversation as in adult conversation.
Right.
But it is intended to be an adult space. Still
maybe some adult conversation.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be time. Like I say, I claim every single show that I'm feral as fuck. But it's so we're gonna get there at some point. Something's gonna happen, and I'm just gonna be all completely red faced like Felix was earlier, and just be completely just But this space is intended to be for an adult space for Skiz fans and for Stay. Not that we don't want to share our wisdom, knowledge, and experiences with those under the age of 18. I would even say 17 and up. We're kind of like NC 17. We are NC 17. And the reason for that is because we don't want to have to censor ourselves when we're having these conversations. That wasn't the whole point of this is to bring people to the table and to have differing discussions and to, just rant and rave and schmooze and whatever about not only our 8 favorite men on the planet, but also, the various other fandoms and K-pop and entertainment in general. So I have gone ahead at this particular point in time, and I believe I have everything set up currently to show that we are 18 and up on our YouTube, and we should be that way on our Twitch anyway. I'm thinking. I think so. But moving forward, hopefully we will just be an 18 and up show, in that we don't want to exclude those under the age of 17, but we kind of also feel like we need to. And I know that seems kind of hypocritical because we talk all the time, and we're going to hit on it here again in a minute, about how ageism is rampant in K-pop in general. But at the same time, there's things that we need to do to keep ourselves safe. There's things that as moms, we want to do to make sure that we're keeping those who are of the younger demographic side safe as well. We don't want to be stepping on some other parent's toes. And it's important that we recognize that. So please, if you happen to stumble across this in some way, shape, or form, and you are under the age of 17, we're going to ask you to please exit if that happens. Hopefully I've got it set up so that it won't, but if it does, because apparently with YouTube recognizes not made for kids as anything 13 and up, which is great, but our stuff's more 17 and up. We want to make sure that we are adhering to that in a responsible manner, because that is important. Basically, if you wouldn't see it at a show, which is pretty broad, realistically speaking, but if you wouldn't see it at a show, or if you wouldn't want to bring your kid to a show for certain reasons, you probably don't want them to be here. I try to keep what I do on Threads a bit more. We went over that before. If you follow me on Threads and you're under the age of 17, I am making the general call that, your parents either A, don't know that you're on there, in which case that's not on me, that's on you because you're going against your parents' rules, or B, your parents are okay with you being on there and have an idea of what you are participating in. So that's the dish of the day. We are not trying to discriminate. We are not trying to be hypocrites. We are trying to explain the reason why it is important that we keep this space safe for everyone. And unfortunately, for those under 17, that kind of means we have to censor y'all out. Not that you're going to see this because you should be censored out, but just we want to put it out there for anybody that does stumble across it in some way, shape, or form. That that is our intention as responsible podcast content, whatever you want to call us, creators, that we do that. So, and you wanted to follow that up again because we are seeing more of the ageism in our direction popping up again.
Not even just, not us. Like, I have to say, I'm pretty impressed that STAYtalk is kind of, as we progress. But as of right now, nobody has really gone after being Nuna, Ajamas, that age group. But no, I still don't get this understanding that.
Oh, hold on, JC, you are pixelated and starting to mess up again, volume-wise. You are very blurred. You're fuzzy. I feel like I am looking at you through beer goggles, and I don't drink, so that's a.
And it's funny because I'm clear on mine and you're clear.
Oh, interesting. That's weird.
Is it still pixelated?
You're better.
All right.
You're not pixelated anymore.
Well, that's good. Okay.
You're laggy, but you're not
all right. Well, we can't win them all, can we? What I was going to say is that it seems that and again, I don't get this, but you know what? Kim Azulay, I don't know if you follow her on Instagram, and she was at the New York shows. Yeah, she I don't think she's on Threads, but she is on Instagram, and she went after. She says, I think I figured it out of why the younger K-pop fans try to go after these older K-pop fans. It's like they think that we're a threat to them running off and getting married to these idols, where we just want to listen to the music and enjoy 8 really charming, good-looking men and are in relationships or happily married, or even if they're even if it's older women that are single, we're delusional, but not we're delulu, but not delusional. You know,
we know it's a game. We know we recognize that it's a game, and we're playing the game the way you're supposed to play the game.
But I hate to tell all these youngins, if I was one of the guys, I would go after a Nuna or an Ajama because they are independent. They understand the business. They understand the game. And we are looking almighty fine. So if you're intimidated by the fact of the way we look, then that's a different story. That's a different conversation.
No, and we not only are we all that,
it's some of them. I hate to say it.
Not only are we all that, we're mature enough to understand that, you know what, we're not going to be, we are not insecure enough to be, you know, to necessarily get jealous or to, you know, demand attention 24/7 because these men have to work. And, you know, been there, done that. I want to have my alone time as a single. As a single, I've been single. Like the bar is so flipping high now because of these men that I'm not exactly sure who's ever going to crest it if it ever happens. And I'm okay with this now. Like it took me a little while to get used to that, but then I realized, no, wait, this is a good thing because if whoever comes into my life can't accept the fact that I'm going to fangirl and I'm going to be all
not to mention the fact that older women are more discreet, and I will leave it at that. We're not sharing the news with all these people, or
we understand what an NDA is and what it's exactly for.
Right. That's number one. And number two,
we might joke about it, but we joke about it because we understand.
Right.
Yeah.
We're also caretakers. if I was one of them, I'd want somebody to take care of me, not that I have to take care of.
Well, yeah, because they're
You know what I
dealing
mean?
with
So
any-
it's right.
yeah.
So our
Yeah.
priorities are much more different than yours are. But I'm saying not everybody, because again, 8 beautiful men, I can appreciate them in the music. What was that?
Picked up something and it's still covered in coffee. I spilled coffee all over my desk before we started, and everything's still kind of wet. So that's why it was like, pick something up to play with.
Excuse her.
I have to fidget with something, and that wasn't gonna work. So I need to find something else. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's why you got to have the little tiny kazoo. Look, like you could fidget with it.
I got my.
But yes, so just to say, it's like we're not after your men. If that's what you think, if that's what you believe, you need to take it down a notch, because
and if we were ever given the option to, we would certainly pursue it, but you'd never know. So
that's true too, because we know how to. As Felix and Hunjin and
was Nyang. No, because Felix was Nyang, and then Hyunjin and Han was So yes, so there's there's that aspect.
So anyway, so my point being is, please do not gatekeep K-pop. We are not too old. Someday you will be sitting in the seats that we are sitting in. Maybe not these particular seats, but these particular ages, and you're still going to want to like what you want to like.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I hope and pray that by the time the millennials and Gen Z especially are to the point where we are now, it will be societally.
Millennials are, so I wouldn't loop those in there. Millennials are close to it. There's millennials that are above the age of 35.
And I got fuzzy again. But I seriously hope.
But Gen Z, yes, I will.
But as the younger millennials and Gen Z start to progress more towards our age group and our demographic, I seriously hope that society has evolved to a point where being a fan of something, or quote unquote fangirling, is as equally accepted as it is being a rabid fan of a football team. Absolutely. Or a soccer team, or or what have you. Because
let me see if I can find this. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
There have been plenty of psychiatrists and psychologists that have compared the two and juxtaposed the two in regards to the same. It has the same effect, but for whatever reason, especially those of us that are female presenting or have a uterus or whatever you want to, however you want to put that, especially for those of us societally, we are supposed to give that up at a certain rate. 35 seems to be the cutoff. And once you hit 35, or you become a mom or you're 35, you're supposed to give all that up. And I'm sorry, but no, there's
guess what, society?
There's
reason
a
quote. Yeah.
For that, I hope for your all sake that by the time you get to be where we are, that won't be a non-issue. Essentially, what's the quote?
Right. Well, there's a quote that I saved from Instagram or Threads, or somebody posted it. It went like this. It says, "Can we stop acting like joy has an age limit? If buying a stuffed animal, rewatching cartoons, using a coloring book, collecting cute stationery, or sleeping with a fuzzy blanket brings you peace in this chaotic world, that's valid. The world is heavy. Bills are real. Burnout is constant. If something soft or silly makes it even a little bit lighter, let it. Being an adult doesn't mean you have to let go of the things that once made you feel safe or happy. We don't need less joy. We need more of it. Louder, brighter, unapologetic. Smile at the small things. Buy the plushie. Buy the skazoo. Get the Happy Meal. Hug the pillow. Pick the pen with the glitter ink. You're not too grown. You're just tired. And you deserve softness too."
Do you have who wrote that so we can make sure that they get the credit for it?
No, because it's I'll show it. You can't see it. Shoot.
Oh, it's on
there was no quote. It was quoted by like something else, but there was no like who it was, because I always try to
exactly, because that's especially, in this day and age when there is, I can't remember how old your young one is. Mine just got into high school, and I'm going to use this as an example because this is actually a very prime example. I have always, as a parent, and this is going to segue in, so stay with me. I, as a parent and my co-parent, have always specifically said and told them that, yes, we want them to get the best grades that they can get. Ideally, those best grades are A's and B's, right? I am not going to, but we're not going to get, if we see them trying and they are applying themselves and they are trying their damnedest and their damnedest is a C or a D, we're not going to get upset with that because we are far more focused on the application than the result, right? And we've explained to them, school is 98% of what you learn in the education system, you are going to forget. It is not going to apply to the real world. What they are training you to do in the education system, at least over here in the US, is they are training you to be a successful and productive adult. What does a successful and productive adult means? That means you have time management. That means you can basically take direction. That means you can complete projects. Essentially, they are training you to enter the workforce.
Right.
You get to school on time, you get your projects done on time, you're able to work well with other people, you're able to have, critical thinking, and you're able to do these things so that when you graduate, you can enter the workforce seamlessly. That is what school is technically, that is what school has become. However, at least over here, which again, we're not going to get into the housewives or whatever, but over here, there is so much pressure placed on kids in school to get those good grades, to move on to college, to do X, Y, and Z. They've done studies where school-age children, part of what is playing into the whole issue with youth unaliving and things like that is the amount of stress they're going under. And at an earlier and earlier age. I can recall when the youngest one brought homework home in kindergarten, my co-parent was like, WTF? When did this happen? Mind you, there was a big gap between them and, kindergarten at that point. And kindergarten, you're bringing home homework in kindergarten? Like, you're supposed to be learning ABCs and 1, 2, 3s and how to write your name, not math. Like what? 1, 2, 3s in that level, but not like actual math. And there's that aspect of stress. So my young one mentioned that he finally had a homework assignment. We're like a month into the school year already, and they finally had a homework assignment, and they were struggling with it. And he was getting upset about the fact that they were struggling with it. And I went and I looked up grades because I hadn't looked at grades yet. And I'm like, you are getting straight A's and a B. You've got a B in math. Why are you stressing so hard?
Right. But it's the pressure they put on themselves.
Well, right. It's that amount of pressure that they're putting on themselves. So I had to sit my child down and remind them that, number one, there's still a month left in the grading period. It is very, very likely they're going to bring that up to a higher B or maybe even a lower A, depending on how things pan out. We recognize that math has not ever been their strongest subject.
Right.
So they're going to struggle more, which means there's going to be a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to what an acceptable grade is, so long as we know that they're applying themselves and trying their hardest to do their best.
Yeah.
But this is somebody who's 14, and they are putting more stress on themselves to get an A than their parents are.
Right.
So if anything in this world brings you dopamine and or serotonin, if anything in this world allows you to maintain some of that whimsy and some of that imagination and some of that just utter abandonment and joy of just existing in this world, which is so flippin' heavy and so it's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
If anything quenches that fire a little bit for just a little while, why in the world would you in any way, shape, or form try to take that away from somebody else?
Right.
Why in the world would you not recognize how necessary that is to balance everything out so that you don't go crazy?
So those individuals that are putting down and really getting into the ageism aspect of K-pop, God bless you that you never have gone through that or don't feel those stresses. But until you're in somebody else's shoes, you can't say that because it's like, let me tell you something. Like when I found the guys, I was like, I just felt lost. Like, I would go to work, I would work out. I had a community within my workout and I love all of them. They helped me through, but I did find K-pop a little bit through them too, because there was one particular challenger that I worked out with and she loved BTS. Now, I am not a huge BTS fan. Do I like them? Yes. Do I appreciate their music and their talent and what they've been through and how far they've gotten? Yes. But it just didn't
Resonate.
it didn't hit me because when I heard them, it was stuff that was released here in America more so than stuff that was released there, like Dynamite, Butter, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't give me that thing. Then somebody said, hey, if you don't like BTS, you should try Stray Kids. And look, and here's who they are. And of course, then, Felix shows his smiley face and then you're like, go on forever. But anyways, but I started listening and I was like, this is this is going in the eardrum and going into my synapses. And yes,
it scratched the itch.
And it really inspired me to do a couple of things that I hadn't done in years. You know what I mean? Like start writing again and start doing stuff and choreography and whatnot. So that's where we're coming from as an older Stay.
Yeah, I mean, it's same for me. I mean, I had been oh no. I had been, when I found them, I was in a spot where I was outside of my relationship for 3.5 years at that, maybe 4. I don't know, somewhere in that age group. I had been, for the last 13 years or so, I have not been myself. I have not been what you see here. Basically, I was very, kind of just and dull and just slogging through the day. Everything was just, it was heavy. Oh, hello, Kitty. It was heavy and it was just, okay, day in and day out and blah, 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 and yada, yada, and noise cancellation. Yeah. And just, I was coasting. I was surviving. I wasn't living. I was surviving. And another bill to pay and more work and this, that, and the other. And just, there wasn't anything sparking me in a way to be able to get me to go, I want to do this. I want to do these things. And I mean, and I'd found like little things here and there. I'd found kind of little pockets of community, but I hadn't, having come from, as I mentioned before, having come from Renaissance festivals, there is a certain community that gets developed when you do those. Absolutely. And there are two types of people when you do those types of shows. You either stay with the Peter Pan syndrome and you never really grow up and you just kind of stay there and you stay ingrained in it and it becomes your life, or you eventually grow up and you move on and you kind of move out and and reality hits, right? Reality hit a long time ago. And I just kind of I hadn't really had a community. I was just kind of adrift. I was a stray, exactly. I was adrift. And it, all of a sudden, I now had something that was making me laugh on a daily basis and getting caught up on content. I'm like, oh my God, this is there's stuff that I will say to the day I die. I am so glad I found these men when they became men. Because there was plenty of content to catch up on. I wasn't ever devoid of something to look forward to. And as I'm trying to catch up, new content's being rolled out. I started wanting to move again and work out again. I still need to work out more. I have not been. Life has admittedly kind of.
Oh, I want to have a flex contest with Chanbin.
I want to get back to where I was before I got pregnant the last time. So there's that. Writing. I have always wanted to be a writer. And somewhere around, 23, I stopped. And now all of a sudden I am writing again. I've got at least 2 things going right now. Haven't written in either of them in a little while, and that's perfectly okay because life's just been busy. But it's that aspect of I hope and pray, especially for those of us that are female presenting and or female and have been brought up in those societal expectations, that by the time the younger gens get to where we are, it is societally acceptable to just pursue your joy. Mm-hmm. So long as that joy is consensual and so long as that joy is not hurting anybody, I sincerely hope, however that joy looks like, because I sit here now and people are like, you're wait, what? Like I've got my keychains and stuff on my wallet chain. And they're like, why are you wearing that? Because I want to, but why? Because I want to. There's no other.
Okay, ready? This is the answer you give them.
It's a Felix.
Can you read it?
Yes. Felix thing. You wouldn't understand. But it's, you know, it's like, okay, yes, I've got a Bakari Tamagotchi and like 4 different Wolf-chan things hanging off of my wallet chain. Okay, and
yeah,
I got adult money and it made me happy. And you know, I made the joke today because somebody was like, "Oh, you have kids? I didn't know you have kids. Do you have a picture?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Hold on a second." And I'm scrolling through my phone, going, "It's gonna take me a minute because I have a whole photo roll of men in here." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I think I have like over 2,600 pictures of Felix and over 21 pictures of Chan, just of the 2 of them, not counting all the rest of the group in this phone."
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the back of my phone is like, you know, I mean,
the Chandori is being worn, but in the Bakari.
I sincerely hope and pray that by the time the younger generations are where we are, you know, fast forward for them for another 20 years, that they are allowed, that it is not even allowed. No, let's not even say allowed, that it is just, they're able to embrace what brings them joy and what makes them happy unapologetically. Because that is, I mean, think about it. All those, you know, when people joke about wanting to be the little old lady on the porch yelling at the kids in the neighborhood about this, that, and the other, you know, or they want to be like those little old ladies that just don't give a damn. Do you know how those little old ladies who just don't give a damn got to where they are? Because they realized, wait a minute, I've spent my whole entire life having other people tell me what should or shouldn't make me happy. And no, from here on out, I'm going to do what I want. That's how those little old ladies get there. So please. Which, in another way, kind of here, this actually does kind of segue into the other thing we wanted to touch on today, which is a little bit controversial.
Yeah.
And we are, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this next section that we are going to do everything we can to remove anything political out of this discussion, because that is not necessarily where we are coming from with that, though there are elements to this that can fall into that arena. There has been an awful lot of discourse, at least on Threads. I don't go on Twitter very often, so I don't know if it is happening over there or not, but I know it happens. It's happening quite frequently on Threads within the last week, given recent events in the world.
US.
In the U.S. And because of the ripple effect that those events have kind of rippled out into other countries, and you're seeing how we are interconnected, much more so than I think people want to remember. Now, I'm also going to caveat this with being someone who is in the U.S. and who can recognize the fact that we as Americans tend to think of ourselves as the center of the world, and everything revolves around us. I'm talking we collectively, like,
not particularly us, but
you know, not JC and myself, because we understand, but the royal we, the collective we. I'm approaching it from that standpoint as well. There has been a lot of discourse this last three or 4 days about, if you don't agree with XYZ, there's the door. Now, yes, you are absolutely 100% on your page, in your space. Put the boundaries in that you need to put in there.
Yep.
I am one of the first people, and JC can attest to this, I am one of the first people to tell you you need to cultivate your care and your algorithm at all costs. This is the reason why certain things that I do want to talk about, or that I do pay attention to, don't get put on my threads, because I know if I start talking about them, that is going to affect my algorithm in a way that I don't want to see. My threads is cultivated very carefully to be my little Stayville Delulu space on purpose. Yeah. And the reason for that is exactly this. But what I have been seeing from others, and what I have been kind of zoning in on and paying attention to, is this thought process that just because the guys themselves emanate a certain energy and interact in certain ways, and their actions can lead us to believe and make a contextual assumption as to where they stand. Let's put it that way. That the rest of the fandom is going to be in lockstep with that.
Right.
And we need to get over that mentality that is not beneficial for anybody. And it's especially not beneficial for the guys. I hate to say it, because what that ends up creating is it ends up creating the situation where if you don't feel the same way I do, then you're not stay. And I hate to tell you guys, we don't get to necessarily make that decision completely. And then that's kind of the easiest
For
way.
you, for
yourself.
If that's
Yes.
how you want it for yourself and what your stay community is. You can choose
100%.
to rectify that and block people that you want to block and not include those people in your conversation and not interact with those people. The guys don't have that choice.
The guys don't have that choice, and it's not. And as B Medica's verse on Medica's verse, we love you, as she pointed out, by burying your head in the sand,
it's not going to
doesn't in any way, shape, or form mean that doesn't still exist.
Right.
So you then have a choice, because you can't. Something else I will always tell everybody every single day: we are only responsible for our own actions and reactions. We
Absolutely.
cannot demand, expect, or require that anyone else on this universe react or act to something the same way that we do.
Correct.
Full stop.
Yep.
And I will tell you right now, as somebody that had that personality when I was younger and had a lot of anxiety just around that, because I had to control every single aspect of every single part of my life so that my life was safe. That is the most ineffective way to generate safety.
Yep.
And it is a very hard lesson to learn. If that is, I can, and I speak from experience. Absolute 100%.
Yep.
Speak from experience.
On the opposite side of that spectrum, it's people pleasing too, because I was a chronic people pleaser, and now it's like, you know what? If it's not within my peace out. Like,
you know. And yes, what other people do within community, what other people do within fandom does tend to affect the whole in some way, shape, or form. But there are, in my opinion, there are better ways we can approach that to basically say, look, the way you're feeling is valid for you.
Right.
Just
but
as
it's not
the way I'm
valid
feeling is valid for me.
Right.
But perhaps you really need to be taking a look at whether those things converge in a way that is beneficial to everyone.
Correct. It's why we have such an issue going on right now where we are.
Exactly.
Because nobody looks at it from that perspective. It's like, I'm right, you're wrong. That's it. The conversation stops, and that's the problem.
Exactly. And I'm also seeing the discourse about how, well, if you're constantly saying that you should just ignore it and block or whatever, it doesn't fix it. You need to understand you're not going to fix it. I mean, I hate to be a nihilistic attitude with that. You are not going to be able to dictate someone else's behavior ever.
Right.
What you can do is be willing, is monitor your own. But what you can do is be open to discussing things with that person, so that maybe there's a sharing of information and perspectives that in some way, shape, or form either has them or you considering other mentalities or other, well, maybe this isn't the right, maybe this isn't how I'm truly feeling, and maybe this is just me reacting in XYZ. There are constructive ways, essentially, that you can address an issue.
Right.
Because, I mean, unfortunately, there are things going on in this world right now that are valid issues. Absolutely valid issues and absolutely valid concerns. And you need to do what you need to do to protect your peace. But at the same time, and yes, speak up when you see in actual injustices.
Right.
Actual injustices. Yes, wholeheartedly. But not everything is a crusade either.
Right. But also recognize that many of us, and I'll say that the royal us, sit at a place of privilege where we can make those assumptions and try to work on it. But there are other people that can't. Yeah. So you are valid with feeling whatever you feel and like Chrysalis says, cultivate your algorithm and protect your peace. And nobody's going to trounce you for that.
Nope.
At all.
And if they do, they can come talk to me and I will gladly and happily.
Yes. And that's why I did a reintroduction, because I wanted people to know where I was coming from and who I'm standing beside and who I will fight for. And if that's not you, I will not take it personally if you block me or unfriend me or unfollow me or whatever. Because I have many friends on both sides in real life. I'm not saying just in the community. In the community, I can choose to who I want to hang with. But in real life, there's people I've known my whole life that I don't agree with anything. But I know them from a personal place. I know who they are. You know what I mean? So it's different. It's different. So it's hard in a fandom. And remember, the guys are just, on the outskirts of that. So really, it's the community. Yes. And they have to just kind of be, that's why, and this segues into the fan call things. Certain things with the fan calls, they have to play a certain way on these fan calls. They can't, even if it's something cringy or upsetting or whatever, they have to act a certain way to be able to, not offend, or because they don't have they can't block people when they see them.
They don't have the privilege. They don't have the privilege to be able to sit there, regardless of what their personal feelings, ideologies, beliefs are. They do not have the privilege to be able to sit there and say, Yeah. I mean, they can in extreme circumstances.
I mean, yes, exactly. If
extreme circumstances, they can.
I think if they recognize the saying, they could say, "No, I'm not taking this call." But
if there's obviously history that kind of plays into that, there's that level of, but it is intrinsic that in order to correct the negatives, as a fandom, we can look at stuff and go, okay, wait, no, and no, yes, and yes. For the stuff that we collectively say no to, there are ways that we can go about addressing those issues that actually address the issue.
Yeah.
And if you are not comfortable doing that in any way, or if you don't know how, because it's a skill that comes with maturity. If you are uncomfortable doing that, or if you don't know how, or if you are someone who, like us, we can recognize that we are in a privileged position to be able to say, well, wait.
Right.
Then do what you need to do to protect your peace, but do not ever enforce your beliefs, ideologies, or methods of thinking on somebody else. And again, if it's behavior unbecoming, like what I deem behavior unbecoming, i.e. illegal activity, i.e. actual injustices and
or harm to another,
harm to another in some way, shape, or form, by all means, call that out. By all means, call that out. Because that's important. But we need to recognize what is and isn't actually kind of, what we can and can't, where we can and where we shouldn't. Let me put it that way.
Correct.
Because there are instances where going full bore is just going to make the situation worse.
Yep.
And we can't, at the same time, those people that feel X, Y, and Z way, they still consider themselves Stay. They still consider themselves Army. They still consider themselves whatever. Because again, our mentality here is not necessarily the same, looked at the same way elsewhere.
Right.
For whatever reason. And we can't minimize the fact that, there is a ripple effect, and that, yes, there's going to be folks that don't, there's going to be folks that are like, how can you like this when you feel this way, and this way? Gotcha. Right. But you know what? They do. For whatever reason, they do.
Right. So you don't have to like it. You don't have to interact with it. You don't have to be a part of it. But don't, like B said, you can't stick your head in the sand either. You choose to protect your peace and ignore it. But you still got to kind of acknowledge that it's going to be there.
Yeah. And you've got to acknowledge it's going to be there. And if you are not comfortable addressing it, find someone who is. I guarantee you there is someone in this community that is more than willing or happy to be like, I say it every day. I am here every single day to be your sword, shield, blanket, or big hug.
Yep.
I might not be able to get to you the minute you send me a message or the minute you tag me in something. But if I get tagged in something, I'm gonna address it. I will figure out some way to do it. And there have been plenty of things that I have read and I've been like, whoa, I need to, and then I read the comments and somebody's already said what I was gonna say.
Right.
And so, okay.
So moving on to fan calls that we are very pleasantly surprised, excuse me, have been so pleasant.
Oh my God. I don't know what it is this go round. I do not know what it is this go round.
I'm impressed with Stay this go round.
Because there have been, I will admit the one call, the one, was it yesterday? Yesterday. I think it was, it was yesterday because Shan was wearing the crop top, like no, the red one, the one with the red and white hair, but he didn't have red hair. And somebody was like, made him do the nobody could stop me in the mean girl voice. And he did it. But
nobody can stop me.
And it's silly and it's funny and I get it. And that's one of those instances where it's like, you can't tell if Chan really didn't want to do it and he was just being like, no, because he didn't want to do it, or whether he was doing that because that's just how Chan likes to play sometimes. And no. I personally don't like demanding them to do anything. You know, you need to do that.
It sounds like,
here,
you know, like, Tony, let's go.
Yeah. Like, you know, dance monkey dance.
Yeah, that's what I was that's what I was looking for.
That's I have an issue with that personally. Now that doesn't mean that Chris had any problem. He did it, so that doesn't mean that he had any problem doing it.
No, and sometimes they don't. But I understand that how that would feel. Like I think the one that the older fan call that I remember is somebody, Felix, act like a cat, and he was just like,
that's a traumatizing. Anybody that has watched that fan call is traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And if we are traumatized by it, then that man, which is exactly probably the reason why he wouldn't wear the collar on last year's birthday live.
But did you see that Hyunjin wore the collar at one of the high touch meets? There was he put on the thing and put on it was the exact same with the little bell too, and Hyunjin put it on. I was like, that's too funny.
Okay, but the difference there is consent. Hyunjin, I guarantee you, Hyunjin was probably like, "This is gonna be funny." Sure
it was. Absolutely,
that type of thing. Where it's like, watch,
Which there was a certain fan call, one of Hyunjin's fan calls, I have to say, where the girl talked about how he should be more confident and you give us confidence. You love your yes. She went on and on and on and on. And you see his face like start to he gets a little choked up, he gets slow. And she's like, promise that you're gonna feel better about it. And he's like, pinky promise. I thought that was very well because Skidgy was like, call it the end of the call, and he's like, I promise. Yeah, that one. And then the one today, I thought the one today with Chris that has been going around where she was kind of demanding that he cosplay Ari at some point. Which again, I would love to see people cosplay. So there's plenty of people that I would love to see cosplay a bunch of different things. And I love the fact that cosplay has actually become so part of pop culture now that it's normal. Like that's yay. But even then he was like, yeah, okay, maybe. And it's just the tone, the way he said, and again, I'm reading into it, which I shouldn't be doing, realistically speaking, because there's no way of knowing what he actually felt with it. But it was just kind of like, okay. And you also don't know what call that was. I mean, they do call after call after call after call after call after call. I don't know how many.
Yeah, so he might have just been tired.
Right.
So there's that aspect of things. There was one, I swear it was Lino. There was one call so far this go round where I watched it and I was really like, really? None of the other ones really got me to that point. It was just kind of like, okay, that's just.
I love the cakes. The girls that made cakes for Felix. I thought that was really sweet.
And the lotus thing for Han. Did you see the lotus candle for Han?
Yes,
that was awesome.
And
then just the way his face lit up was just like. Up.
And there was the one with Han, the stuffed Han in the pants. She showed that first until her face, and he started cracking up. I was like,
As soon as he realized what it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then there was the Chris Steve Sorian thing, which I was like,
what did you name your Sorian? I named him
Steve. I was like, Chad, you're so cute. Oh, that was so funny. Oh my God.
I'm very proud of Stay this go round. I'm very proud of those that
there was more people that said thank you for this, or thank you for allowing me to feel this way, or thank you for being there. Oh, you know which one got me too, which I thought was sweet, was the one that bought Felix a minor planet. Did you see that one?
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
But what kills me was he's like, yes, but he's like, I don't deserve that kind of love. And that's why I did my post on Threads. I'm like, and Felix or any of the guys, if you're seeing this, you do deserve that love, because everyone, I don't care who you are on this planet, everyone deserves to be loved like that.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And right at the camera.
The girl today with the German, with Lino, with going back and forth between German and Korean.
And Korean,
kudos to you.
It was actually really good. I was like, ooh, I'm like, and I even understood it. I was like, wow.
Kudos to her, because I've been thinking, I'm like, if I ever do get a fan, if I ever happen to miraculously somehow manage to get a fan call, the only one I'd have a concern with actually interacting would be Lino, because I don't know. Excuse me, I could say hello and goodbye, or hello and thank you, and I love you.
Right. And here's the problem, though. He's younger, so you'd have to be more. Can you be more informal?
I don't know.
Because
probably
younger. See, and these are rules that you have to think about. You know what I mean?
Oh, Chris today with the girl that was 8 years younger, and he'll call her baby. What?
Well, that means she's 21. Because is he thinking he's 29?
Probably.
Yes. So
she's either 2021 and he's 28, 29, depending on whether you're using international or Korean.
Well, he's not wrong then. Technically, really, from somebody that age would be considered a baby. I'm just saying.
I mean,
but I know the way he said it was very,
Him this go around. But Lino, with the fan that was speaking both German and Korean, absolute kudos to you. My hat's off to you, ma'am. You did exactly what I would want to do if I ever had that opportunity, and you did it so well that I just thank you. Like, thank you so very much. Because that's
his smile. Like, you realized from that call how much he truly loves Stay. Yeah. And how big his heart is, because he was like, oh, each leave a each. And she's like, that's amazing. That's wonderful. You said it perfectly. And he was so happy that you know what I mean? So
because it's obviously it's important to him that he get it right.
Absolutely.
Like he gets it right.
You know what? You could say what you want, but Lino knows simple English. Like, he's not, and he understands it. So if you really were like in a pinch, I'm just saying, you could speak to him and he could sort of speak back if you didn't happen to learn. I mean, most people would probably try to learn some phrases so they can converse with him, but it's just, he can, you know what I mean? Like Felix helped him and he helped Felix. So I'm pretty sure that he knows more
and after all this time, yes, he's picked up a comprehension of conversational English.
Because he understands the questions half the time when they're spoken to him, but he just answers back in Korean because that's what he's comfortable with.
Well, and because I think also too, it's just that as anybody that I've ever spoken to that is multilingual, whatever their native tongue is what they immediately think in. So they
answer back.
They think of it first, and then they've got to think to translate it before they say it. So, because
go ahead.
Because I had a coworker of mine that was Chilean and Bolivian, and so she was talking we would talk about her Spanglish all the time because we were at a work event, and she's like, "Oh, look at the bow tie pasta." Ganesha, I love you. Look at the bow tie pasta. If she ever sees this.
Bow tie pasta, yeah.
Tie pasta. I'm like, and it's not bow tie, it's bow tie. And she's like,
that's all right.
From that point on, it became bow tie pasta.
Then you could screw up and say farfalle, which is the Italian way to say it.
But it was just, but she was talking about the fact, because when she is listening to English or reading in English, she is hearing it.
But it's Spanish. It's the way it's not phonetically. It's how it's written. Because I had a friend who was hard of hearing, who it was Parmesan, not Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, I could see that.
Parmesan, because of the parme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for him, he's understanding conversational English. He's comprehending it, but it is
Right.
far easier to respond in Korean because he knows one of the guys is gonna translate it for him. And but yeah,
it's the same way I feel about. I watched some clips from the show that Lino and Felix were on. The Please Pass the Refrigerator.
Segue Queens.
Yes,
Segue Queens.
Yes, we are. The refrigerator. But when Felix speaks in English, he is definitely, you could see the confidence.
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
Confident. And when he speaks Korean, he's still confident, but it's differently a different level. He kind of like, you almost see his demeanor go from like this to like this, depending on how he's speaking. Because he was speaking.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense considering English was his probably first language. He probably heard Korean in his home, which is why
he's talked about that. He's talked about the fact that growing up, his mom and his grandmother and his grandfather would speak Korean, but he would always reply to them in English. He was doing the reverse of what Lino does.
Right,
so
exactly.
He understood Korean.
But I also didn't know Mark from NCT spoke such good. But he's got to be from then a different country.
I don't know.
Because NCT was because they showed a conversation between Lino.
I saw that.
Felix and Mark, and they're speaking English to each other, and Mark doesn't have an accent when he speaks. Like, meaning like he sounds American, and I hate to say that, but you know what I mean. Like he does not have
he's got that generic English.
So whether or not he learned as a Korean or what, I have to do my research. So I apologize if anybody knows. You could put it in the chat. I'm not being
because we
disingenuous. I'm just saying it was like literally a 10-second clip. Or when Felix is talking to the Italian Korean chef, and they're talking about pasta, and they talked about Italy, like he's speaking in English, but you could tell he was like excited and thing. But because
he doesn't have to think as hard.
Right.
And I think on the recent Two Kids Room with Chan and Changbin, where Chan was talking about even now Korean is difficult for him, and he's using it every day. I mean, except for when he's at home with Ian at this point. He's using it every
they use English, yeah.
He's using it every day, but even now it's still that and another good example of that with Chris was when they did the water park, and he thought he was the liar because he thought it was dog and it was crab because the words are so similar, and Hyunjin was like, I just ate it last month. Why would you think that should have given you a clue?
Not a dog.
But there's for them, it's the opposite. When they're, and you see it with Chris too. When he is speaking in English, he is a slightly different Chris than he is. When he is speaking in Korean, and his formal Korean is amazing, as evidenced by the news shows recently. But his and he's much more comfortable speaking formally in Korean
than he's speaking informally. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Informally. And I think it's the same with Felix, where it's that aspect of, I'm hearing it and I'm comprehending it, but my brain is immediately thinking of a response in English. I have to translate it.
Right.
And make sure I get it right. Because God knows I wasn't getting it right before. Pang Chang.
I follow an account on TikTok called the Bad Korean Teacher, or the Korean Bad Teacher, whatever. He's an awesome guy. But he said, and now that he said it, like when I start reading certain things, because I'm trying to learn, now it makes sense to me, because and you know why? I think that's why Felix finds French similar, because it's backwards. It's like, yes, it's like Yoda. That's what this guy said. He's like, it's like how Yoda speaks, like do or do not, there is no try. Well, that's how, when you follow, it's like,
that's why English.
I hope
that's
so.
Why
like,
English
you know what I mean?
is so difficult for people. That's why English is so difficult for most other cultures to learn, because we're the ones. It's not that they're backwards. We're backwards. We're the one that's technically backwards, because compared to when you look at Spanish, when you look at German, when you look at even sign language, even with sign language, and whether it's American Sign Language or Korean Sign Language or British Sign Language or whatever, we're the ones that are backwards.
Yeah.
But if that's your first language, that's your default. So having to readjust that, that's why it's also easier for those in Europe or in Latin America to have more than one language, because there's enough of a commonality. to be able to, to be able to learn that. And it's also promoted from a much earlier age, usually,
Yes.
than here or in the UK.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it, but that's the whole reason why it is that's why English is considered the most difficult language to learn, because A, we're backwards, and then two, B,
we have a bunch of words that mean different things, but all sound
there. Your, ha. Yeah. So, so there's that aspect of it. So for those of us that are used to that, that's our default. It makes complete sense why Felix would be like, wait, no, I'm a different, I'm more extroverted when I speak English, because that is comfortable. I don't have to think.
Right.
I can just, I have to think,
react,
but I can react instead of process and then respond.
Yes.
But I guarantee you, he is probably a far better listener when he is listening to Korean than he is when he's listening to English.
Oh, I'm sure. Hey,
like
I drift away when I'm listening.
Like I guarantee you, when he is in those environments, he is paying more attention when it's Korean and active listening better than he does when it's in English. And you can kind of see that too when you look at his interactions with folks in both languages, just for things.
Agree.
So we're getting toward the end here.
Yeah.
But speaking of Felix and our wonderful sunshine, as we are recording this, it is currently 4:44 p.m. Eastern in the United States. So on the 14th. So it is still Han's birthday. So happy birthday, Han Jisung.
Happy birthday, honey.
The ace of K-pop.
That's right. That's what I wrote in my thing today.
A third of Three Racha.
That's right.
He with the Jikis.
Our little.
I'm so glad he knows what Jikis means now too. I think that's hilarious.
I know.
So happy birthday to Han Jisung, who is absolutely amazing. We are so unbelievably proud of where you have been and where you have come from and all the work you have done. To me, Han's focus on mental health and being authentically yourself and owning that is going to go a lot farther than I think he realizes it's ever going to probably go.
Absolutely. As a fellow anxiety sufferer.
Yeah,
I
agreed. In addition to that, I would also like to say that I know he's been talking more lately about more personal issues. He like Lino and Sungmin and Ian tend to be the four that are, granted they are the four introverts of the group, but they tend to be the ones that very much keep anything personal close to the chest and don't share a ton. So to see him comfortable enough to share more information about his family in particular, I think is a testament to a lot of the work that he's done over the last couple of years. And like Changbin said, whereas Chris is very, very good about expressing what is in his head, Han is extremely good about expressing what is in his heart. And I personally thank him from the bottom of mine for that, because yes. So I don't know if you want to add in on Han, and then we will go into your ult.
No, the one thing I appreciate about Han is he is who he is, and from the very beginning. Like if you watch from the progress from the very beginning, he has matured. He has prioritized things, but he is still that same fun-loving, happy, nervous energy, because I see it, because I'm the same.
Effervescent. He's effervescent.
Yes, that's exactly. And I've been called that myself. So he's that bubbly, effervescent, type of. Yeah. And I just love his relationship with everybody in the group and how he just fits. I don't know. It's just Han's just Han, and I just love him. I adore him. So
exactly.
So happy birthday, honey.
Happy birthday, honey. And then that means that it is currently, since it is 4:44 p.m. here, that means it is 5:47 now, 5:47 a.m. on the 15th in Korea, which Felix is my OG bias, and Felix is JC's alt.
That's
so
correct.
I'm going to let you start off. Happy
birthday, Felix! I'm so excited. You know what? It's funny because I remember. So he's 25, but he's 26. So chronologically 25, 26 Korean, and he did say something in the letter. He says, I'm 26. So okay, we'll go with what you're saying. But anyways,
which is weird because they recently adopted international age in Korea, but that seems to be something that's like kind of getting rolled out very slowly.
Yeah,
anyway,
which is fun. So
tangent.
Be as old as you want to be. I sometimes think I'm 29, so there you go. But he just, to see him too come from the beginning to now, and you see how he's complex. Like I like that. Like people are like, he's our sunshine. Yes, he is, but he's a deep thinker. Like if you listen to Felix speak, he's a super deep thinker about a lot of stuff. And so, and that's what I think I appreciate most is like when he starts to talk about something, he goes off in tangents too. And it's just very funny because like I tell a story that way. So I find a lot of similarities between me and Felix and I. But he has this way of making lots of people around him feel comfortable. He just like when he walks into a room or like even like the salon drip interview and with can the staff have some? Like he's a considerate person, regardless of what you think about his talent, regardless of what you think about him being in the group or being, whatever. He is such a considerate human and such a lovely human. And I adore him. And hopefully I'll meet him someday and just say, thank you for being you, because I just gratitude and that kindness is not a weakness.
I like that.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
And kindness is not a weakness. There's a superpower, and it's your superpower, and don't ever change that for anybody.
There's a quote from a series of books that I adore, who I have tattooed on my back, which it goes to along that, and I'm not quoting it directly because I can't remember it directly, but the ultimate, and it's completely not related to this. It's related to something else, but it does still apply. Where don't mistake the bend, don't mistake the bending in me for weakness.
Right.
And that to me kind of somewhat embodies how Felix is, because he is I've said it time and time again. Yes, he's our sunshine. Yes, he sits there and tries to remind people left and right that no, he's not an angel. Right. It's obvious being compared to that level makes him uncomfortable, and right. I get it. Because in my opinion, there is no way that anybody walking this planet that embodies the warmth that man embodies hasn't seen an equal amount of darkness in some way, shape, or form. We're never going to know what that is. But just from experience, when I run into people even somewhat similar, whatever experiences they have gone through, those experiences have made them more giving and more warm and more wanting to make sure that others do not experience what they experience. I mean, Chris is an example of that to a degree. He didn't want any of the kids to go through what he went through, in particular Felix.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's because he recognized that beyond just the Aussie, the Aussie little brother aspect of things. But Felix is the, trying to think of the right words to say. I mean, obviously, yes, what originally draws you into Felix is his voice and his look. He is, that man can go backwards and forwards between Sealy and unseelie court every day of the week, and nobody's going to argue. Right. But at the end of the day, what makes you truly appreciate Felix is the fact that he, throughout everything that he has gone through, has managed to maintain a level of humility and charity is not even the right word. It's
but an admiration for life and people.
Yeah, it's this intrinsic need and desire on his part to make sure that he leaves the world better than he found it.
Right. And to keep learning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And that goes hand in hand with the intrinsic need to leave the world better than you.
He for all the jokes about being bronze and all of the typical 20-something-year-old guys,
baby. There's no bronze there.
And not just your hair, okay? It's not just the hair. You are platinum, darling.
You are platinum, darling.
But because he's still a 20-something-year-old guy who enjoys video games, and that's, but
Felix knows joy, and he doesn't make any mistake about it. He loves to, no matter how good or bad he is, League of Legends.
I don't think it's I don't think it's a matter of being bad. I think it's just a matter of not having time.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Well, I mean, but they keep picking on him for not being the greatest player, but that's all right because I've played several games where I'm not very good at it either.
Because okay, but if you gamed frequently, you know that's
yeah.
No, that's
I
what
know.
you do. But he is just he is, and to me, he is the embodiment of how, realistically speaking, a lot of us should look at the world, and how important it is that he is able to recognize for everything that he has given and for everything that he has earned,
he gives back.
He doesn't stop that from returning it.
Right.
From, he doesn't rest on that as just being, oh, well, I'm here now. Let's, and he could. They all could. They absolutely all could.
There's people in this world that are givers and are takers, and Felix, amongst anything else, is such a giver.
And that has been reiterated, not just by the other 7. That is reiterated with every single person that has ever run across that man.
Yes. Exactly.
You see it, and you see it. You see it when he interacts with people. You see the way people, you see the way people light up. You see the way people will physically just. I mean, yeah, you got the one interview when he did the last Louis Vuitton show where she was like, "Oh my god, like, are you inviting me to the after party?" But and she was like, "Oh my god,
Avalon." That was the cutest thing ever. I was just like, she's like, Felix hugged me. I was like, that's the reaction that every single person would have.
But at the same time, not only was there that excitement and anxiety, you physically saw her body just relax. And there's little things that you pick up on if you are somebody that either enjoys sociology or just regularly watches people, as or has been trained to kind of look for certain things.
I watch people all the time, so
I people watch all the time. But then again, improv training, just things you look for comfort, not comfortable, not comfortable, approachable, not approachable. And that man's just he's the epitome of just inclusivity and approachability. And thank you,
extrovertedness.
And happy birthday, Felix.
Yes,
happy birthday. Welcome to being a quarter of a century old, both of you, chronologically speaking.
Yes.
So
you're halfway to 50 now, boys.
You're halfway to 50 now, boys. I mean, technically, I guess the whole Korean age. I get plenty of cultures do that. Korea's not the only one that does that. But it's just, I think you were born in 2000. It's 2025. You were 25 years old. I'm sorry, but
no, I know, but it's all right. You could be how old you want to be.
However, it does make them a year older, so I don't feel quite so bad about going, oh, he's pretty. So I guess I should take that for what it is. I mean, same thing with Chris. He's not 28, he's 29. Okay, yay, thank you. Or he's about to be 28, 29. 28.
29.
Couple more weeks.
Right.
So it's not quite as bad, but
it's fine.
It brings me joy, damn it.
That's right. That's what we're gonna have a t-shirt. Stray Kids. They bring us joy, damn it. That's the new Nuna t-shirt. That's the new Atoma t-shirt. Stray Kids.
Oh my god.
They bring us joy, damn it.
If we ever do merch for this,
PM.
We are trademarking that right now.
Nobody steal that from us.
No, it's documented now. We can.
That's right.
This is timestamped at 4:56 p.m. Eastern on September 14th. It brings me joy. Damn it, it's trademarked. I will file papers.
And on that note, I'm going to let you finish up for us because we're losing it.
I can't get all like sentimental and maternal when I'm laughing my ass off. I mean, I could. Okay. All right. So on that note, happy birthday to Han. Happy birthday to Felix. We love you, boys. Men, boys and men. Men. I have a hard time calling them boys still, but it just seems natural. Anyway, happy birthday to you both. In the meantime, I will end today as I do every time after I let you know that we will be going live on this upcoming Thursday, whatever Thursday is this week, at 7 p.m. Again. Yeah, what day is it? It's the 18th?
18th.
Okay, so September 18th at 7 p.m. Eastern will be our next episode. We hope to see you there. And please, by all means, join the discussion. If you are watching this on a replay, leave comments. Let us know you were here. I do try to get to them pretty quickly. I know JC has been busy, so it's been kind of and the last couple of days have been crazy for me because life. But I do try to get to them. I do try to respond to everything in some way, shape, or form. And if you are catching us for the first time, please smash the buttons. You know what to do. We've been growing, and I cannot, again, express how unbelievably appreciative we are. Every time I log into YouTube, there's at least a couple of new things going on. Every time I check TikTok, there's a couple of new, should say more than a couple, quite a few new followers. There's not been a lot on social media the last couple of days. One, because the program I've been using decided to go wonky on me for the last 24 hours. And don't ask. And then two, I have been busy studying for an exam for a license. And so therefore it's been kind of like in my house for the last couple of days, but that should get rectified after Wednesday. So we should be good soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to send you off today saying what I say every single day, which is now let's get out there and be the best damn fandom that Stray Kids deserve. Make our guys proud as hell. And with that, we will see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And until then, I'm just going to add, if you can't be good at it.
That's right.
And love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
몇 년 전 노래방에서 랩을 제쳐 하며 연습하던 내가 지금은 계속 달려보니 이제 느끼는 runner side full 몸이 날아가는 기분 fly 불필요한 소음에 대응할 필요 없지도 마땅 난 실용적인 랩하는 놈 집중해 히로 미래 교회 가서 하면